You weren't born strong. You were forced to become strong. Because the people who were supposed to hold you decided you were capable of holding yourself, and somewhere in that process you learned that needing help was the same as being weak, and now you're drowning while everyone around you thinks you're swimming. They call you the strong one, the reliable one, the one who always has it together. And every single time they say it, you feel the weight of that identity pressing down on your chest like a stone. Because being strong stopped feeling like a compliment a long time ago and started feeling like a life sentence. You're the person everyone calls when their world is falling apart, when they need advice, when they need someone to talk them off the ledge, and you show up every single time because that's what you do. That's who you are. But when your world is falling apart, you sit alone in the dark, scrolling through your phone, trying to figure out who you could call without feeling like a burden. And the answer is always nobody. You take care of everyone you listen to, everyone you fix everyone's problems, you carry everyone's emotional weight, and in return you get to watch them walk away lighter while you stay behind holding all of it, wondering why you feel so empty after giving so much. Nobody asks if you're okay because you've trained them not to. You've spent so long being the stable one, the unshakable one, the one who never breaks, that people genuinely believe you don't need what they need, that somehow you're exempt from the human experience of pain and exhaustion, and wanting someone to see you without you having to perform strength first. You learned early that crying got you ignored, that showing pain made you invisible, that asking for help meant you were weak or needy or too much. So you locked it all inside and built an entire identity around being the person who doesn't need anything from anyone. But here's the truth they never told you: you're not strong, you're exhausted, you're not independent, you're isolated, you're not mature, you're parentified. And the reason you're so good at taking care of everyone else is because you've been doing it since you were a child, and nobody ever taught you that you were allowed to stop. You weren't given a choice about becoming the emotional support system for your entire family. You were just a kid who learned that if you didn't step up, everything would fall apart, so you stepped up, and you've been stepping up ever since, and now the idea of stepping back feels like abandoning everyone you love, even though they abandoned you first by making you carry weight you were never supposed to carry. People see you as strong because you don't cry in public, because you don't complain, because you don't ask for help. But what they don't see is that you've been crying alone for years, that you're screaming inside every single day, that you desperately need help, but you've built a wall so high around yourself that nobody can get in and you can't get out. You convinced yourself that needing people was dangerous, that depending on anyone was setting yourself up for disappointment, that being self-sufficient was the same as being safe. But all you really did was trap yourself in a prison of your own making, where you're surrounded by people but completely alone because none of them actually know you. They only know the version of you that exists to serve them. Every time someone tells you how strong you are, what they're really saying is, "Thank you for not burdening me with your humanity. Thank you for pretending you don't have needs. Thank you for making it easy for me to take from you without having to give anything back. You've become so good at being what everyone needs that you forgot how to be what you need. And now when you try to access your own emotions, your own desires, your own pain, it feels foreign, like trying to speak a language you used to know but haven't used in so long that the words don't come anymore. You don't know how to rest without feeling guilty. You don't know how to say no without feeling selfish. You don't know how to ask for support without feeling like you're failing. And all of that is because you were taught that your value is determined by how much you can carry, how much you can give, how little you require in return. The people who love you have no idea how much pain you're in because you've hidden it so well, because you've smiled through every breakdown, because you've reassured them while you were falling apart. And now they think you're fine. They think you're handling it. They think you're strong, and you're too tired to tell them the truth. Because telling them the truth would require energy you do not have and vulnerability you don't trust them with. You're not angry at them for not seeing you. You're angry at yourself for being so good at hiding. For making it so easy for them to believe the lie, for training them to see you as a resource instead of a person. But here's what nobody tells you about being the strong one. You're allowed to collapse. You're allowed to stop holding it together. You're allowed to need people just as much as they need you. And the right people won't punish you for it. They won't see you as weak. They won't make you earn their support by proving you deserve it. The problem isn't that you're too strong to ask for help. The problem is that you've been punished every time you tried. You've been dismissed, minimized, told to get over it. Told you're overreacting. Told that other people have it worse. And eventually you learned that asking for help was more painful than suffering alone. So you chose the suffering because at least it was predictable. You've been the therapist for your entire family, the emotional shock absorber, the one who listens to everyone's problems and has no one to tell your own to. And somewhere in that dynamic, you stopped being a person and started being a function. And functions don't get to have needs, they just get to serve. Every relationship you have is built on the foundation of you giving and them taking, and the few times you've tried to reverse that dynamic, you felt so uncomfortable, so guilty, so aware of being a burden that you immediately went back to giving just to restore the balance, just to feel safe again. You're terrified of being vulnerable because vulnerability has always been weaponized against you. Every time you showed weakness, someone used it as proof that you weren't as capable as they thought. Every time you asked for help, someone made you regret it. And now you'd rather break in private than risk being seen as anything less than completely self-sufficient. You're allowed to be tired, you're allowed to put it down, you're allowed to say, "I can't carry this anymore," without feeling like you failed everyone who depends on you. Because the truth is, they shouldn't depend on you like this. Nobody should have to be strong all the time. Nobody should have to earn rest. Nobody should have to prove they're struggling before they're allowed to receive care. Start small. Start with one person, one moment, one honest sentence like, "I'm not okay and I need help." And if they can't handle that truth, then they were never safe for you in the first place. And that's information you need even if it hurts. The people who actually love you won't see your vulnerability as weakness. They'll see it as trust, as intimacy, as the gift of being let into the parts of you that you've protected for so long. And if they make you feel bad for needing them, then they were only ever in your life to benefit from your strength, not to actually know you. You've spent your entire life being strong for everyone else, and it's time to be weak for yourself, to let yourself fall apart, to stop holding it together, to discover that the world doesn't end when you stop carrying it, and that the people who truly matter will still be there when you're ready to be honest about how much you've been holding. Being strong isn't about never needing help. It's about being brave enough to ask for it. It's about trusting that you're worthy of support even when you're not performing competence. It's about understanding that the strongest thing you can do is admit that you're human and you can't do this alone. Stop waiting for someone to notice you're drowning. Stop hoping someone will finally see through the mask. Stop expecting people to read your mind and offer help you've never asked for, because they won't. Not because they don't care, but because you've convinced them so thoroughly that you're fine that they believe you, and you have to be the one to tell them the truth even if your voice shakes while you do it. You weren't meant to carry this alone. You were just forced to, and now you get to choose differently. You get to put it down. You get to say, "I need help," and mean it. You get to stop being the strong one and start being the honest one. The version of you that's exhausted, that's barely holding on, that's screaming inside, deserves just as much care and attention and support as everyone you've been taking care of. And until you believe that nothing will change, you'll just keep giving until there's nothing left.